from Hollywood and the four corners of the world. You asked for it. Starring Rich Little. Here's the star of You Asked For It, Rich Little.
Thank you, and welcome to the only show on television that takes you around the world in 30 minutes because you asked for it. Tonight's show comes from the four continents. You'll see Swiss robots of the 18th century, a sculptor who carves with a chainsaw, and much, much more. But first on our show, can a world boxing champion be spotted at the age of 10? The man who trained heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson thinks so. He already has an eye on the future champ. And the kid phenomenon faced our cameras in Athens, New York, with our Leah Erickson as an eyewitness. Arthur Collins, Jr. of Benton Harbor, Michigan, you asked for it.
Left hand high, Bill.
The kid in the blue tank top is Billy Ham, a name to remember. At just 10 years of age, he already has the poise and skill of a fighter way beyond his years.
Don't stop in the center for a second, John, as long as you're close enough to get hit. Keep moving your head. Right back, John. Right back with that left jab. Too far away. Left hand high when you're on the right. Hand high, Bill.
Billy's part of the Catskill New York Boxing Club, a club some say has the best youth boxing program in the country. Here, boys from age 10 to 20 have had a fire lit underneath them by a 73-year-old living legend named Cus D'Amato, the former trainer of heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson. After retiring 8 years ago, Cus started taking troubled kids from disadvantaged backgrounds and teaching them much more than how to punch. Cus teaches how to succeed in life through discipline, education, and hard work.
Teaching boxing involves the preparation for the young boy to face life and live life in the proper manner so that they'll be able to face their problems, cope with them successfully, and thereby go on to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish.
Billy's a phenomenon, working out religiously and sparring often with kids 20 pounds heavier. He's 60 pounds of dynamite who hits like a ball-peen hammer and already has won 2 fights by knockouts. Cus's first lesson for all his boxers is one they never forget, inside or outside the ring.
To help improve it. The greatest obstacle to accomplishment and learning is fear. And I teach them why they have fear and how to cope with it, so that it doesn't become an inhibiting factor, but rather an inspiring thing, because once you learn how to control fear, it acts as a drive because of the adrenaline.
Cus lives in this large old Catskill home owned by a sister-in-law. It's become a home away from home for many of the young boxers. On weekends, Billy often spends time here, playing pool just a step away from his very own mattress.
Billy can be as good as he wants to be, as good as his interest allows, and go as far as his interest allows.
Billy is the youngest boxer Cus has ever trained, and someone he especially treasures in the twilight of his career. Cus is like a gardener, carefully nurturing and guiding the growth of Billy's and the other boys' potential. Billy Ham, learning to become champion under the guidance of Ted Atlas and the legendary trainer known as the Socrates of boxing.
I'm going to be champion of the world because you asked for it.
I float like a butterfly. I sting like a bee. This kid is okay. He's gonna be me. We'll be right back with the amazing 18th century robots of Switzerland.
And now back to Rich Little.
You know, that could be a castle in which Dr. Frankenstein created his famous monster. But what is housed behind those walls is more fascinating than any mythical monster man. A letter from Sandy Linderman of Thousand Oaks, California, sent our Janet Langhart to Neuchâtel in Switzerland. And she's going to see the extraordinary 18th century Swiss robots. This is because you asked for it.
Rich, this intricate portrait of Louis XV, a king dead for more than 200 years, is being drawn by an artist who never lived.
This is one of the famous mechanical dolls on display here at the Museum of Art and History in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. But the schoolboy is only one of the wonders of the 18th century to be seen here.
These mechanical marvels seem to be more than dolls. They're almost living beings, magically transported from 18th century Switzerland. The dolls were the creation of Pierre Joquet-Droz and his son, Henri Louis. When the mechanical puppets were first shown in 1774, they created quite a stir, and no wonder. This lovely young girl playing the pianoforte brings us a concert from the past. Notice the moving fingers, the sighs of enjoyment, and of course, a polite bow once the number is finished. The schoolboy is a study in concentration. He looks to be about 3 years old, but his talent is amazing. Besides Louis XV, he can draw a dog with amazing dexterity. The oldest mechanical puppet is that of the scribe. He was built between 1768 and 1774. With a few simple twists of the gears, he can be adjusted to write anything up to 40 letters in length.
These puppets are exactly as they were 200 years ago, except for one thing. The clothes have to be changed every century or so because of everyday use. This is Janet Langhart in Neuchâtel, Switzerland, because, Sandy Linderman, you asked for it.
Now I know why everybody liked Renoir. He was a doll. You know, one of the fascinating features of this program is the great collection of classics from the original You Asked For It, the show that started the trend towards reality programs. And here with another beauty from that collection is the host of the original show, another doll, Mr. Jack Smith.
Well, thank you, Rich. You know, we filmed many an astounding act for You Asked For It, but in 1957 in Tokyo, Japan, Tatsuo Kagami topped anything that I've ever seen in the art of juggling. When I look at this film today, I find it hard to believe. So take a look at Tatsuo Kagami, the fabulous saucer spinner and knife juggler of Japan.
A spinning saucer, an empty water glass balanced on the thumb. Now try those tricks if you like, but from here on, no more. When a knife comes into the act, always leave that to the pros. Knife, glass, cane, saucer, and see how they spin. The saucer never stops. And here's a trick that wows them in the Tokyo cafes, the mouth balance. reed, cane, and spinning saucer high above. Again, the knife. An ordinary piece of board. Kagami uses it here to prove that the point of that knife is dangerously sharp. Remember our warning, this is a feat no one should ever dare try to duplicate. On the bare forehead. The same sharp knife, and watch where it goes next. Tatsuo Kagami, the saucer spinner of Japan. You asked for it.
Oh, a good thing he wasn't Indian, or he'd be speaking with a forked tongue.
That's a cutting remark.
Oh, thank you, Jack. See you tomorrow. We'll be back in a moment with a sculptor who uses crazy tools. Can you imagine this? We'll be right back.
And now back to Rich Little.
This work of art was carved by a sculptor who uses a chainsaw instead of a chisel. Imagine the steady hand that it takes. It's like using a jackhammer to crochet a shawl. Because of your letter, Terry Zander of Pontotoc, Mississippi, we sent our Leah Erickson to Hartsville, Pennsylvania to watch sculptor Brian Ruth make the sawdust fly.
Every morning, 23-year-old Brian Ruth performs a ritual of preparation, slipping on a face mask and goggles to protect him from possible deadly harm. He turns on his chainsaw and begins another day's journey into the incredible world of chainsaw sculpturing. Believe it or not, Brian has no other tools than his 11-pound, 14-inch bladed chainsaw to create fantastic figures like this eagle clutching a rabbit in its claws. There are owls and bears, rabbits and rams, buffaloes and horses, pelicans and herons, even a hooded wizard or two. And for all you Star Wars fans, Brian has created a beautiful sculpture of Yoda, Luke Skywalker's wise old teacher.
People come by and read the sign that says it's done completely with a chainsaw, and they'll say, God, I saw it being done and I still don't believe it.
A great deal of Brian's success depends on selecting the right hard woods. He makes periodic trips to a local tree surgeon's just to find the right logs. Because of its color and texture, black walnut is his favorite wood to carve. What Brian is patiently creating here is a delightful brown bear.
Well, I actually visualize the whole piece. I can see it in the log, and I know what pose he's going to be in, what kind of expression he's going to have. I start from the head, and that's the most important thing, is to get the first part proportioned correctly, because it sets up the rest of the piece. While I'm carving a difficult piece, I'm really involved in it. Extraneous things don't enter my mind.
You'd think that Brian's detailed pieces could be disfigured at the slightest slip of his saw, and it has happened.
One time it happened, I was at a show carving in front of probably a couple hundred people, and I completed a rabbit and went back and saw that I didn't hollow out the inside of his ears. So when I went back to do that, one of the ears broke right off. And one person came up and commented and said he was more impressed that I could put so much time into a piece and have it break like that than the fact that I could do it.
To watch Brian is more than watching a marvelous sculptor at work. It's almost as if he dances with his saw, magically bringing his creatures to life. At Brian's young age, he still does a lot of dreaming of things to come in his artistic career. His biggest dream is to beat the Guinness Book's world record for the tallest totem pole. The current record stands at 173 feet, but Brian believes he can carve one 200 feet tall. And who knows, he just might do it, if you ask for it.
Suffering sciatica. My wife was a good carver. She's been chiseling on me for years. Remember, You Asked For It video cameras travel around the globe to bring you people in action, unusual animals in strange places. Challenge us. Write to us. You Asked For It, P.O. Box 1980, Hollywood, California, 90028. Brazil, the world's birdland. It has so many different kinds of colorful and remarkable birds that when Dr. Helmut Seek went there for a short visit before World War II, he stayed some 60 years to study them in depth. Well, a letter from Bart Lambert of Long Beach, California, sent our Georgetta Ruba to Rio de Janeiro to visit this famous ornithologist and the birds that have fascinated him for a lifetime, because you asked for it.
You know, some of the most fascinating things about the country of Brazil are the magnificent birds that grace its jungles. And there's a man here who has spent an entire lifetime learning everything there is to know about them. His name is Dr. Helmut Seek, and though he lives in Rio, his thoughts are seldom far from the forests of the Amazon.
I came to Brazil in 39, 2 months before the war, in an official mission between the Museum of Berlin and the Museo Nacional no Rio. I am quite old, and therefore I can say even 60 years I am studying birds.
60 years of studying birds, that's a long time. Dr. Seek started out when he was only 9, writing down bird songs and musical notes in his backyard in Germany. But he decided to stay in Brazil so he could study its huge variety of living birds.
We have in Brazil 1,580 more or less. We have in the city of Rio de Janeiro 440 species, which means it's quite more than in whole Europe. I had several good invitations to return to Europe, but I did not accept because I could there not work as I wanted. The smallest birds are naturally the hummingbirds, which are the pride of all people in South America. The smallest hummingbirds which we have in Brazil weighs 1.5 grams. It is one of the smallest birds in the world.
Parrots and macaws are among Brazil's most beautiful birds, but they're also among the most confusing. You see, it's very hard to tell the males from the females. Even the local Indians can't do it. Here's Dr. Seek's method.
I came to the conclusion that the only sure method is to wait if the bird is laying an egg, and then I guess we know that it is a female.
Dr. Seek says it's a lot easier to tell the difference between a parrot and a macaw. Parrots have short tails, macaws have long ones. And these birds are also unique because they live so long. In captivity, parrots and macaws have become 65 to 70 years old. Another of Brazil's beautiful birds is the graceful heron, an animal whose worst enemy at one time was man.
The Brazilian herons became famous because the fashion in Paris was much interested in the so-called aigrettes. To furnish aigrettes to France, there was need to kill 300 specimens of herons for 1 kilogram weight of feathers.
It's hard to believe such colorful creatures actually exist at all. But here they are in beautiful Brazil. And you've seen them because you asked for it.
In a some of those birds are not merely beautiful, they're fighting birds, too. They're known as featherweights.
Rich will be back in a moment with more You Asked For It. And now, back to Rich Little.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight. Join us next time on...